All right, everyone. We got lesson 25 here. We are talking about fractions, and we're talking about our percents that go along with it, which we kind of saw yesterday. But what was the thing about yesterday was is those were our really like nice, friendly ones. They were easily out of tens, hundreds, and thousands. We're going to run today a lot of them that aren't in that situation. So we want to give you alternate methods for it. So we're starting off here with our fraction. So they gave us a fraction. Again, we want to convert to decimal percent. What we saw from yesterday is a lot of times we can get out of 10, we can get out of 100, we can get out of 1,000. So this is what we can do here. So we can change the denominator to get to 10, 100, or 1,000 so that we can just say it. The other thing is we can make use of our calculator. Okay, and let's realize here the fraction bar. The fraction bar means what? What does it mean? It means to divide. Yeah, the fraction bar means it's a division problem. So if you reach for your calculator and you type in 3 divided by, all right, and then 8. All right, type in 3 divided by 8. Look what here. Look what it appears. Go on, do it. Do it, I dare you. Go ahead. Yeah, all right, yeah. We're going to get 0.375 on our calculator. There's your decimal. All right, woohoo, we're done. All right, so fractions to decimals, type it on in. It is a division problem. All right, the other thing we want to watch for is changing it to a percent. Now, okay, changing it to a percent. So a decimal to a percent. So decimal to a percent, you can just multiply by 100. All right, now why does that end up working? Well, what's percent always out of? Yeah, it's out of 100. So we can just multiply it by 100. Now, there's two ways of going about this. You could go ahead and say, you know what, I'm going to multiply by 100 and actually do a multiplication problem here. Wait a second, multiply by 100. What's that going to do to your decimal? Yeah, it's going to move it over two places to the right. So that's why you could say multiply by 100. It is going to move, all right, your decimal, all right, twice right. All right, so we're going to have 37 and 5 tenths percent. Okay, so we can kind of speed things up here to kind of help you out a little bit. Decimals again are okay. Decimals are our friends. Okay, all right, so decimal. They just gave us this is a decimal. So let's say it first. See, I almost said it myself to give it away from you there. All right. What did you say? You said 35 tenths. All right. Yeah. No. 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 Not 35 tenths. 35 thousandths. Did you say 35? No. Yeah. Stop booing here. Let's get the right one on there. 35 hundredths. 35 and then hundredths we are after. All right. I apologize for the movements on there. All right. It happens when we use tables sometimes. So yeah, as a fraction, it's 35 hundredths. Now, watch if they ask you to simplify or not. For right now, I'm not asking you to. I just want to get it into that fraction form. And we love that because when we rate it as a percent is always out of. Yep, it's out of 100. So because it's out of 100, we can just write out that it is 35%, and we're done with it there. All right. Let's see more in our table here. Okay, 84 and 5 tenths percent. Okay, so all right, so percent. Percent's always out of. It's always out of. Yeah, it's out of 100. Okay, so if I want to write it out as a fraction, all right, I could write it out as 84.5 and then put it over, all right, and then my 100. All right, but the issue with that is decimals and fractions can't play together. All right, they don't get along. All right, don't ask me why. All right, yeah, they're a little bit crazy like that. So we've got one thing to do is to move the decimal once to the right, you would multiply by 10. So if we multiply each of them by 10, all right, we can do that, and then we're going to get 845, all right, and then thousandths. So that works, all right. Now let's be a little bit sneaky here. All right, let's go to here. Let's go back over to here. Do you remember to get from your decimal to a percent? Decimal percent you multiplied by 100. All right. So if you times by 100 here, all right, what do you think you do to go the opposite direction? Woo! Yeah, we're going to divide by 100. Now, if you divide something by 100, okay, so you could reach for your calculator, type in 84.5 divided by 100. Your calculator is going to say this. Okay, which is fine. Remember how we said move your decimal twice right? Well, now what's going to happen? Go in the opposite direction, so it's going to be, yeah, it's going to be twice left. So again, there's so many ways you can go about these problems. It's not always one, but you got to stick to what you kind of feel strong with, what you like, and try not to bounce around as much for it. Also, so then look at this. Oh my goodness, if you did this first, how do you say this number? 845 tens, hundreds, thousands. Yeah, yeah, and there's my fraction. All right. Um, it, that, yeah, that's pretty dramatic, isn't it? All right. So let's see here. We got a decimal. Let's say it. Let's say it. How do you say it? 325, 325. Yeah, thousands. Yes. So 325 over your 1,000. All right, so there's your fraction. Now to write it as a percent, we could do it two different ways. All right, one is we know to go from the decimal to percent, you're going to multiply by 100, which is going to move your decimal twice right. So you could just jump right in and go, oh, twice to the right, 32 and 5/10%. There we go. All right. The other thing is, think about it. Percent has to be out of what? Not out of 1,000, out of 100. So what would you divide by, all right, to get it out of 100? To get it out of 100, you would have to divide by 10. Take 32.5 and 325, excuse me, and divide it by 10. Yeah, you're going to get your 32.5%. So like we said, different approaches there. A lot of students like the movement of the decimal. And I encourage that, people. I encourage that definitely. All right. Here we go. What would you like to do? What would you like to do? Maybe you'd like to say, I know percent's always out of 100. All right. So you could get it out of 100. What you going to multiply by? All right. 4. Yep. So 2 times 4. 8. Yep. So it is 8%. We can do that. The other thing is this. You could realize, wait a second. Fraction bar. Fraction bar means to? Yeah, it means to divide. So if we type in 2 divided by 25 into our calculator, you're going to get 0.08. All right, there's your decimal. Now let's think about it. To go from here to here, it was twice right. There's your 8%. Think about the number 8. All right, if you want to go from a percent to a decimal, go twice left. All right, and there's your 0.08 that's in there as well. So like I said, there's nice little ways of kind of checking it. You just got to kind of figure out which one that you like. All right, do you have a preference? Yeah. Well, no, I mean, I don't want you to feel like that you can't tell me there, but if you don't want to share, that's fine. I can agree with that there. All right. Oh, let's move on down here. Yeah, here we go. Okay. So we want to look at example number 2. All right, we got a survey. All right, it's taken. We're asking participants whether or not they are happy with their job. For the record, Mr. Susevich is very happy with his job. All right. All right. Anyway, so the overall score was given. They said 300 of the participants were unhappy, while 700 of the participants were happy. All right. Give a part to whole ratio for comparing happy participants to the whole. So we're back to writing out our ratios here. So order is important. So we want happy people. All right. How many happy? Ooh, 700. Now to the whole amount. What was the total amount of people? Did you say 1,000? Yeah, because 700 are happy, 300 are unhappy. That means there's a total of 1,000 people that are there. So percent-wise, well, we got a few options here. One, I could realize, you know what? I'm going to write that out as a fraction. And you know what? I know percents out of 100. Yeah, so what you going to do to get from 1,000 to 100? You could divide by 10. Yeah, so what happens when you divide by 10? You get yourself 70. Now it's out of 100. 70%. All right. You could reach for your calculator. You could type it in, change it to a decimal. All right. If you punch this in, 70 divided by 1,000, you would get 7/10. So you go 2 spots to the right. All right, and there's your 70% as well. So like we said, there's lots of ways. You just got to kind of figure out which one, like I said, what kind of clicks with you in certain situations. All right, so the unhappy ones, that means there's 300 unhappy people. The whole amount, that is 1,000 of them. All right, so as a percent, again, write it out as a fraction if you would like. All right. Some of you are like, man, I love my calculator. I'm just going to type it in. I'm going to type it in, and when I type it in, I get this. And then you're going to go, you know what? I'm going to convert it into a percent. So you can say multiply by 100. You can say twice right, and 30% it is. All right. So again, we do want you to, kind of like a go-to method that you deal with, and what you kind of want there. All right, let's go on down here. We're going to skip to exercise number 2. They want us to use the tape diagram to answer the following questions. So 80% is what fraction of the whole quantity? So 80% is, oh, look, yeah, 80% does match up with 4/5. And if you notice here is they broke it up into 5 groups. So that's why we're into fifths here. All right, 1/5, 2/5, 3/5, which means if I take 100 and divide it by 5, because again, I got 5 groups here, I'd get 20. So then 20 for each of your groups as well. So if we can read this, 1/5 is what percent of the whole quantity? 1/5 is, there we go, it's 20%. It's that easy, people. 50% is what fraction of the whole quantity? Go ahead, say it. Say it. No, ooh, wait a second. I don't see it on here. So let's think about this for a second. 50%, that's a fraction. That's a half. So it wasn't on here. So what I need here is I think just thinking about it is the right way to go. But here's really what's going on here. I need 50%. I need who's in between 2/5 and 3/5. Well, 2.5 5. No, we can't do that. So what we would do is we'd end up changing what we're counting by. So if we need to count by tens to get in there, 10%, 20%, I'm sorry, 30%, 40%, 50%, what that's going to do is going to make 10 groups, which means this would no longer be 1/5 over here. We have 1/10 that's there. And then that wouldn't be 1/5, that would be 2/10. Let's think about it. What does 2/10 simplify to? Yeah, it simplifies to 1/5. So you can see the pattern here, 3/10. This would really be a 4/10, which again is 2/5. And oh my goodness, it's 5/10. It's 5/10. 5/10 simplifies to a half. Woohoo! Again, I think it's just a little bit easier to say, 50%. Yeah, that's half the amount. All right. So yeah, I think just kind of think into it a little bit. 1 is what percent of the whole quantity? 1 is the whole amount, and there it is. It is 100%. So yeah, we're going to be making use more of these a little bit more. So we do want to kind of start reading there. So Maria completed 3/4 of her workday. Create a model that represents what percent of the workday Maria has worked. Okay, so the idea here is if we go model-wise 3/4, we're going to break it up into fourths. So we can have a 0. We got a whole amount. That means we're going to have a 1/4, a 2/4, and a 3/4. Now, we think about it, percent's out of what? Percent is out of, 100%. So if I'm at 0% down here, and I gotta get all the way to 100%, but I need 1, 2, 3, 4 equal groups, all right, take that 100 and you're gonna divide it by, 4, because you want 4 equal groups. If you do that, you get 25. So each group is 25%. So there's a 50%. It's a bad 50, isn't it? And then there's a 75%. So we can see that the 3/4 does match up with 75%. All right. So she's completed 3/4. So what does she have left? All right. Well, if she's completed 75, she's only got 25% left. All right, watch the wording in the questions there, people. How does your model prove that your answer is correct? Well, if we look at it, she's made it all the way up to there, so she's completed all of this. So all we have is 1 box is left. So we've got 1 box left, all right, and each box was worth, what was it worth? Yeah, we had it off to the side there, was worth 25%. That's what we want there. Okay. So let's see what we got going on here. Oh, let's take care of one more. Matthew completed 5/8 of his workday. What decimal would also describe? So which decimal? Ooh, 5/8 is a decimal. What do you think? What do you think? What should we do? Only if I had my magical calculator. All right. I could type in there. What's that, chicken? Stop. Wait. Yeah, 5. Punch it in. 5 divided by 8. 5 divided by 8. It's what? Yep, you're right there. You got it. That's it. Again, use that calculator to do that conversion you're looking at there. So how can you use the decimal to get the percent? Decimal to percent, multiply by 100, or you could end up moving that decimal twice to the right. Oh, there's the cheering. Yes, everyone loves you for saying that. So then there we go. We got it. All right. That's it. Like I said, it takes a little bit of time. Oh, crowd, it's enough. That's enough. It takes a little bit of time to kind of get used to the routines there. You can stop the cheering. Thank you. It takes you a little bit of while to kind of get used to the routine. But again, it is just a little bit of time there and getting used to seeing it there. So, good night, everyone.